All right, and welcome to the Nugget Bridge Invitational. I'm Bears fan 092, and I'm going to be one of your commentators alongside my partner Dwee.
Hey, it's me, Dwee.
Yeah, so we're going to start things off fast with the round one Nugget Bridge moderator showdown between Biosci and Baz Anderson. So Dwee, we've known both these players for a long time. What playstyles do you think they're going to pull out?
I have played Biosci at the SoCal Regional, and for me, what I felt was that he kind of had a lot of hyper offense, but then he also had that defensive bulk, which kind of annoyed me, and that knocked me out of the top eight. Baz, on the other hand, I have never seen play, but I'm pretty sure Baz is going to be an excellent player to watch in this tournament. I mean, he is the number one seed after all, so we'll just see what he has.
Yeah, so anyways, as far as the teams are concerned, not shown is Biosci's team of Heatran, Cresselia, Landorus Therian Form, Conkeldurr, Sableye, and Crobat. So what do you think of that team?
That Crobat is definitely interesting. I feel like Biosci is going to be going for more of a disruption game because of the Sableye with that Prankster and Crobat, which could probably taunt a lot of the Pokemon. But the only setup Pokemon I possibly see on Baz's team is probably Chandelure or Cresselia, but even then, Trick Room might not even be a factor for Baz.
Yeah, I think that Breloom's going to be pretty interesting though, especially if it's one of those faster Breloom and can get the jump on Heatran. Um, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be a tough matchup. Um, you can probably see this, but Baz Anderson's running with Chandelure, Scissor, Breloom, Cresselia, Terrakion, and Thundurus. So, more of an offensive thing, something we're used to seeing from the European metagame. So, how do you think the metagame styles will match up?
Oh, I don't know. Baz, he's been really consistent all season long, so he probably is going to be on top of his game. Biosci coming off that 6-3 finish, a bit disappointing for him, but I don't exactly know how the two metagames will pair up here. I mean, Biosci is from Hawaii. They might even be different. I don't know.
Yeah, the Hawaiian metagame. So, yeah, right now we're just sitting at team preview. You can tell that these trainers are both they're both not going to give each other any free openings, so they're going to spend a lot of time making sure they get this decision right. Um, as we mentioned earlier, Oh, it looks like we're getting started out here. So, in just a moment, we're going to see what these two trainers have brought out as their opening choices, which should dictate what the strategies are going to look like. All right, so we're just waiting for the white screen to go away, and we'll see what we're leading into. All right. So up top is Baz Anderson, and on bottom is Biosci, and we're leading with Chandelure Cresselia's, you know, some good special attacking force there. And on the bottom, we're looking at another Ghost Psychic lead in Cresselia Sableye. So, what do you think, Dwee? What do you think the lead matchup looks like?
Hmm. Honestly, I don't believe in matchups. I think that matchups are kind of overrated once it comes to high level play, and that it all comes down to the players. So it's still anybody's game.
Yeah, and for the folks back home that aren't familiar with Sableye, Sableye can basically do, well, everything. It has gravity, it's got fake out, and with that prankster ability giving it +1 priority, it generally gets to set up no matter what you do. Um, and Cresselia more of a traditional support option. But what do you think that Chandelure's up to?
That Chandelure right now, probably just gonna wreck some damage. I played with Dawes back in the in nationals. I team built with him, and I believe Europe still enjoys that Scarf Chandler to just nuke that opening lead.
All right, well, Biosci has selected his moves, and he's electing to put back his Cresselia, most likely fearing that Chandelure's Shadow Ball. And in his place, we see Heatran, but Cresselia launching that Helping Hand, and we'll see how that combines with Chandelure's massive base 145 special attack. But because Helping Hand is high priority, it actually goes before Fake Out. And between the Ghost Gem and the Helping Hand, I imagine this Shadow Ball is going to hurt no matter what it hits.
That did a bit more damage than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, Ghost Gem and Helping Hand, for those of you who aren't familiar, is roughly about a 2.25 times boost. So even with Heatran's resistance, it does a lot. So, all right, first turns in the books. Who do you think's who do you, Heatran walls Chandelure really well,
I
but
think Heatran is going to be the biggest problem for Baz. A lot of Baz's team gets just wrecked by Heatran, so definitely Baz is probably going to try to target down that Heatran and get rid of it.
Yeah, I'm just really curious whether or not we're going to see a substitute set or maybe even like the newer eruption sets. But with that Chandler out there, maybe eruption. Well, eruption probably isn't a thing because it's low on HP. But regardless, that Heatran is one defensive threat.
We saw leftovers on it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's a substitute set.
All right, so yeah, Biosci being fairly quick on his moves, so we're just kind of waiting for Baz, and he should take his time to think because you don't want to be caught behind the eight ball early against a trainer like Biosci.
The thing is, Baz might have locked himself in a helping hand because Sableye has that priority Encore.
Actually, it doesn't, but no big deal. So Cresselia leaves the field for Thundurus, and doing that Will-O-Wisp combination for the Flash Fire, and Baz plays his trump card, shows the hidden power, most likely hidden power ground, and I think that'll be the end of Heatran on this turn. So, surprises coming out early, and that's what makes Pokemon so exciting. All right, Dwee. Now that Heatran's out of the way, what do you do if you're Biosci?
With Heatran gone, a lot of the counters that you could possibly have are out. I mean, Scizor, Breloom, and Chandelure, they're free to do whatever they want now. They have a lot more open room to just attack instead of getting walled by Heatran. So that's definitely a roadblock out of Baz's way.
Although on the flip side, it also reveals that Chandelure is not holding a choice scarf, so it is not locked in. But at any rate, um, Biosci has chosen Landorus Therian to replace his Heatran, and it's got an interesting matchup because it hits one super effective, but the other one for negligible. Actually, it hits both of them for super effective with Rock Slide. Excuse me. Um, so if you're Biosci, would you go for that Rock Slide and try to hit both of them, or would you try to Earthquake and get a stronger hit?
That's a pretty tough decision to make because the Rock Slide will not knock out the Thunderous, and it probably will not knock out the Chandelure either. That's you got to pick one to just wreck right now, and Rock Slide would probably be a good move to make just to get damage on the field on Baz's side.
All right. Well, Baz Anderson decides I'm not having any of this, pulls out Chandelure, and Cresselia comes out, which is a pretty hard Landorus answer. But Baz decided I'm not going to have any more of the Sableye either, so he just throws at the taunt. But Biosci doesn't want any of this and
Mental
puts
Herb.
Mental Herb. This is 2011 and pulling out the gravity. So, yeah, that Thundurus is no longer safe. Oh my god, and that ground gem earthquake, are we going to see a possibly bulky thunderous Oko? What is this? And Sableye almost gets Oko'd by its own partner, and Thundurus, as predicted, goes down one hit, and Cresselia takes over half. What do you think of that, Dwee? You don't see that every
That
day.
was a good turn for Biosci. Losing Heatran on that previous turn kind of devastated him, but yep, not phased at all. Just Gravity, Earthquake. That could have been two Pokemon knocked out right there, but Baz making the smart decision and switching in Cresselia.
Yeah, and anytime you can take out a bulky Thundurus in one hit, it's a good day. So, you know, Baz going for that scissor. Hopefully it's not shiny, and it's not, thank God.
Shiny
Um,
Scissor is probably the worst Pokemon in the game.
don't use it, kids. It's bad. Um, all right, this is kind of tricky though because Earthquake now hits everything on the field, including your ally, and we didn't see Musharna, so it's a tough play. What would you do in this situation, Dewey?
Just keep Earthquake spamming. I mean, that did 50% to Cresselia. You might lose Sableye, but Sableye, I think sometimes you just have to sacrifice your own Pokemon. You just have to knock out your own Pokemon in order to finish off a game strong.
Yeah, but just a quick reminder for people that saw the last turn. He used up his ground gem on that last turn, so it looks like Cresselia will survive a non-boosted Earthquake. So I don't know if there's like another play that maybe Biosci's going to go for so he can get a safer KO. Do you think he's got any options to do that?
Sableye, I'm not sure. I'm not a really big person that knows stabilized movesets. He could go for a Wisp here on Scissor just to help out, but
No, but no,
yep,
Baz is
not
not
gonna
giving
happen.
him a shot at that. He's just gonna bullet punch and say, "Get out of here." And Icy Wind into the protect. So, all right. So Biosci's down to his last two Pokemon, and I believe we're waiting to see that fourth Pokemon. Or wait,
I
no,
believe,
it was Cresselia. He pulled that back early. I forgot. So Cresselia Landorus versus Scissor Baz Anderson, and I'd have to imagine the matchup is in favor of Baz right now.
yeah, I definitely say so as well. Can't forget that he can't Earthquake, or Biosci can't Earthquake because gravity's still up.
Well, he can. He's just gonna end up chunking his own Cresselia, but
Yeah, but you don't want to sacrifice your fourth Pokemon for that.
yeah,
That's
definitely
that's kind
not.
of a silly move.
Although it depends on what Baz's fourth Pokemon is, because he might get an okay matchup with one-on-one with that last Pokemon.
Isn't it Chandelure?
Uh, good point. My mistake. I should be paying a bit more attention. Sloppy me. Uh, so the choices seem pretty clear, judging by the speed that Biosci picked, but Baz being a little bit more deliberate in his choices, and rightly so. You don't want to end up forfeiting an advantage like this.
Don't wanna make mistakes here in the Nugget Bridge Invitational.
Nah, not with the world is watching. This is the stage. So, still communicating. Um, yeah,
One thing to note, maybe a U-turn might help knock out Cresselia, because that Cresselia is a problem right now for the Landorus T. So we're just gonna have to see what Biosci chose to do.
you think maybe he's running Helping Hand?
I'm not exactly sure, but it's always a possibility. Cresselia, it's so versatile. There's so many different moves that it can have, different sets. But that Cresselia is definitely a problem for that Landorus T right now.
Best Pokemon in the metagame for a reason. I mean, that bulk and versatility is unmatched.
Strangely offensive too. Can't forget about that really popular offensive set that Cybertron and Wolfie ran in Nationals 2012.
Yeah, and Scissor possibly fearing a hidden power fire goes for protect, but uh, Biosci throws up that substitute, which is some new technology. Might not have U-turn, depends. But I imagine Icy Wind is going to destroy that substitute and lower Cresselia's speed while we're at it. Um, so all in all, not much of a gain for Biosci, and revealing that hidden power fire. But now that with that Icy Wind off, I imagine he won't be able to launch that hidden power fire fast enough. So
He's
pretty
probably
good
going to
move
get
on
bit first.
yeah, pretty good move on Baz's part, I think.
Baz, that was a good move. I mean, Icy Wind is so disruptive. It just creates so much pressure and just puts yourself in such a good situation. Icy Wind, really great move. I mean, right now, that pretty much differentiated Baz from winning and losing.
Yeah, just cemented that position. Icy Wind's so disruptive. At -1 speed, you are at two-thirds the original speed. So especially in those middling speed tiers like Cresselia and Scissor occupy, it can really change the matchup and makes things like Hidden Power Fire not as useful. You can't get it off before that Bug Bite. So I imagine Baz's move is pretty simple here, but what are you thinking, Dwee?
Baz just making sure that, he's probably thinking out all his options. That's what great players do. And he's just making sure that, this move right here, this turn will secure his victory. So that's probably what's going through Baz's mind right now.
And keep in mind, regular unboosted Bug Bite generally does not OHKO Cresselia, but uh, Biosci revealing that he's got a Rock Slide, but he's going to eat an Icy Wind in the process, doing negligible damage because he doesn't want to hurt his own Cresselia. And that Icy Wind does so much, possibly revealing an offensive Cresselia. Um, and we're going through the speed drops right now, and Scissor's going to get his chance to shine, launching that Technician boosted Bug Bite, which is going to do a ton of damage and possibly eat a Citrus Berry, but he doesn't have it. So because it survives, it's going to be throwing out the Hidden Power Fire, which is going to do humongous damage on Scissor, as you see, and knocks it out. And suddenly things aren't looking quite as bleak, but at -1 speed, I think it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, that Icy Wind allows that Chandler to outspeed both Pokemon on the field right now, so that was a really clutch Icy Wind the previous turn from Baz.
Yeah, I can't really see a way out for Biosci here, but You're a better player than I am, Dwee. So what do you think?
I wouldn't say I'm a better player. You did win a regional this year.
Consistency. I'd rather be consistent. But I mean, I'd imagine both Pokemon outspeed at this point, and
I'm pretty sure they do. Cresselia outspeeds both for sure, but Baz just gonna go for a Heat Wave. Kind of risky.
yeah, I don't. Not going for those 100% moves, but
Kind of
it
risky
worked out
there.
here. Worked out here. So, uh, looks like Baz Anderson's gonna take game one, and he shows why he's the number one seed. That was pretty strong. So,
That was a clutch icy win that previous turn. So I mean, he was definitely thinking turns ahead to find out all his win conditions.
yeah. So, um, if you're Biosci, it's pretty clear you got that gravity element. Do you think there's a way you can better use it to overcome what Baz is up to?
Biosci, I think he definitely needs to protect that Heat Ran a bit more. It's just so useful in this matchup against Baz.
All right, and for those not aware, Cybertron has won game one in his matchup versus the Battle Room, and Knight has won his game one versus Lol Fail Snail. So congratulations to both players and all players involved. Keep playing on as we continue on the Nugget Bridge Invitational.
Those were both really good matchups too.
Yeah, but unfortunately we can only stream one at a time. So, you know what? I think I'll take this matchup. This is a pretty good one too.
Yeah, I kind of want to see a Cinderella story here from Biosci. 16th seed upsetting the number one seed, but Baz just being so strong.
Yeah, I mean, with multiple top cuts under his belt in Europe, and the fact that the man just stomps all over live tournaments and the simulator ladders like it's nobody's business. It shows there's some pretty strong consistency going on here.
He might even be more consistent than me. Top cutting three nationals, that's pretty intense.
You're washed up, dude.
I probably am.
Yeah. So, all right. Same matchup, and Dwee, you've been in your fair share of best of three situations. How do you like to approach game twos after a loss?
Game twos, usually I try to figure out what the problem Pokemon was from the opposite team, and then I just see what my outs are to knock out that opposing Pokemon that's just giving me so much problems.
All right. So, what do you think that opposing Pokemon is? Do you think it's that Cresselia with that Icy Wind, or possibly that Scissor?
Well, right now for sure it's probably that Cresselia because it can just drop Icy Winds every turn and just disrupt Biocide's flow.
So,
Other adjustments I'd probably make, Biocide, he definitely needs to keep that Heat Ran in the battle. He can't just let it faint. I mean, he switched in on a helping hand Shadow Ball, Shadow Gem, Ghost Gem, whatever gem that is, and
yeah,
that
it's
just
Ghost
did
Gem.
so much damage.
Yeah. So I don't know. Would you consider leading Heatran, or would you kind of keep in the back and try to see if you can find a safer switch?
I definitely try to keep it in the back and try to find a safer switch in for it.
Yeah, but it's always tough against a player like Baz Anderson, though, because just look at that team. It's got offense written all over it, except on that Cresselia.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe Bioside the first game he just didn't think that Shadow Ball would do too much damage, but it did, and that definitely cost him the match, I think.
Uh, do you think that maybe if he let that Cresselia take the Shadow Ball instead, and then let Heatran have more of a free reign, the match would have turned out a bit differently?
Well, Heatran does beat Scissor harder than Cresselia does, so maybe that Cresselia protecting the Cresselia wasn't too good of an idea. I mean, Cresselia got off two moves the entire game. That's one hidden power fire into a protect, and then another hidden power fire to knock out the Scissor. So Heatran could have done the exact same thing, spamming heat waves, and so
And possibly depending on speed investment, if you could throw up a substitute before an icy win, that's something to think about.
definitely.
Yeah, although lately we've been seeing more bulky heat ran, like Steven Morioka at Nationals. His heat ran was slightly on the bulkier side, but because of Breloom, it's not uncommon to see faster heat rans sitting at the 135 speed mark. Anyways, both trainers have selected their Pokemon, and now we're just kind of going through the Wi-Fi motions and that long white screen, and as we anticipate what each trainer is going to pick out, see what adjustments they're going to make, and hopefully we'll have an exciting three-game series. All right, so waiting for the first Pokemon to come out, and it's same leads. If it worked last time, don't change it. Cresselia, Chandelure at the bottom, Cresselia and Landorus T. So yeah, that's tough against that Cresselia. What do you think, Dwee?
It all comes down to what Baz does his turn. I mean, he could protect the Chandelier and then Icy Wind, but Biosci at the same time could just set up a substitute and just defend himself from that Icy Wind speed drop.
Yeah, that's very true, but at the same time, it would cost him some health, and I don't know, it's really tough. You still got that ground gem though, so getting an Oko on Chandelure, not a problem. Um, how important do you think this Landorus is to the matchup?
Well, Landorus here, I mean, he can kind of defeat Breloom, kind of with the Earthquake, but I mean, Breloom will just Bullet Seed it, and Bullet Seed does a lot of damage because of Technician.
Yeah,
Landorus is pretty important for Thundurus and maybe Terrakion if Baz actually brought Terrakion.
yeah, I think looking at Biosci's team though, it's kind of scary to bring Terrakion.
Yeah, Landorus T, Conkeldurr, those both don't mind facing off a Terrakion at all.
And Baz Anderson spending a lot of time um, selecting his moves. And just in from our host Makiri, Unreality, Kiwi Dog, and Fatum all won their game ones. So congratulations to them, and um, we'll see who advances on to round two of the Nugget Bridge Invitational. And similar opening as last time, we're gonna get that helping hand off, but we'll see what item it is. And Biosci going for that substitute, possibly predicting the Protect Icy Wind combo, like you mentioned, and goes for the
Ooh.
Shadow Ball. Ooh, Ghost Gem. This is going to do so much damage, and possibly we'll see a rare Cresselia Oko. And
Ooh.
oh my god, and it's an Oko. Alright, Cresselia goes down, but at the same time, that Landorus now has a substitute up. Uh, I would say Baz is down. Do you agree with that, Dwee?
I
Not
kind
Baz,
of agree.
Biosci.
I think it's still a tie because now that Landorus is just behind a substitute and he can wreak havoc on Baz's team.
Although this gets kind of awkward though, because now you have this Heatran on the field. Heatran being Fire Steel type is 4 times weak to ground type moves. So I don't know, Dwee. How do you navigate this?
Well, it's not Balloon Heatran, that's for sure. So it's definitely an awkward position for Biosci to be in.
Do you think there's possibly a mind game that you could do to set up substitute?
Possibly. Both Pokemon can't really touch Heatran on the other side. So Heatran right now is actually fairly safe, and then Landers can just start spamming Rock Slide, get some flinches maybe, or even crits to knock out the. That's right, Chandler has HP ground.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks to our host Makiri for pointing that out. Um, I don't know. You might kind of be forced to. It's kind of weird because each player has a gun pointing at each other's head, so it's really tough. Like who blinks first? So, and you can see Biosci is taking a long time to select these moves, and we brought this up before. You don't want to make a bad move because each trainer is extremely skilled and will make you pay for any mistake.
Yeah, definitely a tough situation for both trainers to be in.
All right, moves are in, at least on Biosci's end. So maybe Baz is taking even more time. You should take all the time you want. There's no time limit. Oh, and this just in, Knight has advanced to round two, so congratulations to him. And thank you to his opponent Lol Failsnail for playing and streaming, or being a stream candidate. So we'll be seeing him in round two. And still waiting on moves, but like I said, you
This
got time.
this actually might be a bait by Biosci. Yep, there's a protect on Heatran. Maybe he baited out that hidden power ground.
Oh, he might have, but he's gonna get some good damage off on that Chandler regardless, and that'll be a two-hit KO. And there it is, the hidden power ground into the protect, so strong, and a flinch too. What a great turn for Biosci.
Yeah, I that Heatran there definitely has a target on its back. Baz knows that Heatran is a problem Pokemon. He needs it knocked out as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I see this being a free sub for Heatran. What do you think?
It all depends. Will Rock Slide miss? That's those good old 90%, 95% moves that always have a chance of missing.
Yeah, that's the best and worst thing about this game is that you're never really out of it, but sometimes those win conditions that would be most of the time, you'll get that 1 out of 10 shot and you'll be back to the drawing board. Uh, so we'll see if Rockslide does what it needs to. And keep in mind, Icy Wind is also 95% accurate, so a miss right now from Icy Wind would just be devastating for Baz Anderson.
It's better than RBY, where every move actually had a chance to miss. Can't forget about that. This is definitely an upgrade from where we were in RBY.
Yeah, random trivia fact: 1 out of 256 shot of missing because red, blue, and yellow were programmed really weird. Um, so we're just waiting on the moves now, and Baz Anderson says no, getting Chandler out of there, and sends in Scissor. What is going on? He's gonna eat that rock slide, but Cresselia avoids it, so no flinch happening on this turn. Scissor's gonna take a little bit from it, not too much, and he's gonna get Cresselia's gonna get that icy wind off, lowering the speed at Heatran. So we know that Heatran is slower than Cresselia. It'll be interesting to see what Heatran does on this turn, whether it goes for the Heat Wave or elects to set up Substitute or maybe some other bag of tricks. And he
Yeah,
puts up Substitute. There it is.
pretty much a
So
free sub.
free sub, great position for Biosci. I think this is what you were alluding to in between matches.
Yeah, he's definitely protecting that heat ran a lot more this round.
Yeah, so just a quick summary. Baz's team is Chandelure, Scizor, Breloom, Cresselia, Terrakion, and Thundurus, and 3 of the Pokemon can touch Heatran. One of them has to eat a Heat Wave in order to do it, and would probably be O-Code. So, like Dewey said, it's a huge Heatran is probably the key to this matchup.
Yeah, I
And
remember one time Biosci telling me to use heat ran, and I just didn't have as much use for it as Biosci is having for it right now.
yeah, so Lander's throwing up the Protect, trying to dodge that Icy Wind, and it does, and that Icy Wind is not going to break that Substitute with that 4 times resist. And wow, Baz Anderson manly setting up that Swords Dance in the face of a Heatran, but he's just gonna launch that Heat Wave, and unless that Scissors got Akaberry, which it doesn't, it revealed it had Steel Gem last match, it's gonna be O-Code. Creselia's gonna get chunked for some damage, and we're just kind of seeing the power of Heatran in action. So Dwee, I know you're like a fan of Empoleon, but what do you think of Heatran?
Well, it's kind of a touchy subject for me because I played Biosci top 8, SoCal Regional, and if I actually had Empoleon over Heatran, I might have won. So I don't think Heatran is that good as Empoleon, but obviously right now Heatran is showing his strengths against Baz's team.
Biosci sabotaged you. He convinced you to run Heatran, and then he
I
beat
wouldn't
you.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
All right, this just in, Cybertron has advanced over the battle room, so we'll be seeing Cybertron in round 2, and Cybertron, one of those guys who's always favored to go deep.
Yeah, Aaron or Cybertron, he's a consistent player. This is, I believe, his second time in the Invitational. He's just so good at this game.
Yeah, and anyways, we're looking at a really common duo here, the Cresselia Thunderous combination, partially popularized by Cybertron's Nationals 2012 team. Uh, at the same time, that if that Thunderous wants to muscle past a Heatran, it has to waste a Thunderbolt on a substitute. So, do you think that's the play here?
I would say so. We don't know what or Baz's last Pokemon is Chandelure, so he definitely needs to open up that Heat Ram to be able to hidden power ground it whenever Chandelure comes in. Otherwise, Chandelure is kind of dead weight against Lander's T. Even then, the Heat Ram can Earth Power back at Chandelure too.
Yeah, it's just a rough matchup for Chandelure, even with the hidden power ground. The good news is that, his Chandelure is most likely faster than his Heatran since Cresselia outsped it. So we're just kind of waiting to see how things go. Um, Now, Thundurus often carries Hidden Power Ice or Hidden Power Flying. Hidden Power Ice obviously would be a bit more useful in this situation, but what's your opinion on that?
I think nowadays most of them run Hidden Power Ice because of opposing Thunderous T, which otherwise walls Thunderous, but it's definitely more towards the player and what their team requires. I mean, if they don't have a Thunderous T count, then they might throw on HP Ice to help counter it.
Yeah, and it's also with the rise of Landorus T, that Hidden Power Ice is pretty attractive. But Landorus Therian is throwing out that Rock Slide, possibly getting a flinch, but ooh, revealing Electric Gem Thunderbolt is gonna hit Heatran and most definitely break that substitute. And now both Pokemon are up for an Icy win, but
Gets off that icy wind again.
no flinches, no. And that was huge, if you ask me. So, all right, Dweet, that was, I think that pretty much cracked it open. What do you think?
The game's up in the air. I mean, both Pokemon now are definitely outsped by Chandelure.
But,
And both survive too. Oh
oh
man.
man, both of them are standing. But, that's the thing. If you use bulky Heatran, sometimes you won't get the same kills that, say, like a Fire Gem Heatran might. So, all right, the Pokemon on Biosci's field are definitely slower, but he's got that Heatran. So,
Heatran will definitely be able to set up another substitute this turn as well.
yeah, he's gonna have to eat a Thunderbolt in the process, though. So it's like it's dicey.
Yeah, but if it's bulky Heatran, there's probably no problem surviving it. So I think that's his best move because he needs to prepare for that Chandelure that's gonna come in.
Yeah, we've been talking about all game that Chandelure with the hidden power ground and things like when you see hidden powers like that, it's because of metagame decisions. Like you're tired of Heatran, so hidden power ground is about as anti Heatran as you get. And this just in from our host Makiri, Kiwi Dog and Darkness are tied at 1 game apiece. So it looks like we're going to be going to a game 3 on that set. And with any luck, we'll be going to game 3 on this set.
It all depends on what happens this turn.
And this turn and probably the turn after are probably the critical ones. So we'll see which trainer has the guts to come out on top. And Biosci selecting his moves, and he decides I'm going to reset the speed on this Landorus because stats reset on switch out from non-volatiles. Ooh, Crobat coming in and helping hand, and I guess he's going to try to muscle it with a Thunderbolt. Hits the Heatran, and we'll see how much damage this does, whether or not he's left with enough to substitute. And he has a third of his HP left. He is going to, but he's going to elect to go straight for the Heat Wave, get the double kill, and
Yeah, I don't mind that move because now, how many Pokemon does Biosci have or Baz have left?
excuse me for a moment. I'm just checking my notes. Let's see here. Scissor went down, and he just got a double kill. So it
Yeah,
looks like
so
Chandelure.
this
This is a 1-on-3.
yeah, so that Landorus now outspeeds it and will probably knock it out with an Earthquake. So it will definitely knock it out with an Earthquake.
Yeah. So it looks like game set Biosci, and it looks like we're gonna get what we wished for. Game 3.
That was definitely a much better game for Biosci. He protected the Heatran a lot more. I mean, he set up that sub, didn't switch it in on anything that was dangerous. So that's definitely a really good adjustment on Biosci's part.
Yeah, we might get that Cinderella story we're looking for. We always want those. This isn't the NCAA tournament. 16 seeds can win it all.
What was that one team? Florida Gulf Coast that came
I
out of nowhere.
I don't know. I really don't know. But this is Pokemon. We don't play sports. Um, Actually, most of us do play sports. But anyways, if you're Baz Anderson, how do you handle that heat ran? Because it's pretty clear that it's the key member of the team right now.
Yeah, that's really tough. Baz, he got fairly lucky that he hit it on a switch last time that took it down to about half health. So Baz, he's just gonna have to find a way to get in and attack that heat ran.
Yeah, just to review of Baz's team, he's got Breloom, Tracheon, and Thundurus all capable of hitting Heatran for significant damage, and plus the hidden power ground on Chandelure. And on top of that, he's got Cresselia with the Icy Wind. So um, I don't know. Like, what would your lead combination be if you were Baz on this game 3?
Well, I wouldn't know. That's why I'm not there playing right now.
Yeah, it's
Um,
we're in the commentating booth for a reason.
yeah, pretty much. I kind of want to see what Tracheon can do, but at the same time, I know that Biosci has two counters to Terrakion.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that Landorus Therian, which with the Intimidate turns more or less into a Terrakion counter. And he's, excuse me, just pulling up notes. Uh, he's also got Conkeldurr, which can hit it with Mach Punch, Hammer Arm, Drain Punch, and with that Iron Fist, it's 1.2 times stronger. So Conkeldurr becoming a lot more popular on teams such as Nugget Bridge's own admin, Scott Glaza. What do you think of Conkeldurr?
I used Conkeldurr at Nationals. I wasn't too impressed with it, but I was just using it wrong probably. Iron Fist is definitely a great ability. I used Conkeldurr actually in the Winter Regional, and it kind of helped me in a battle I had against our very own Deagle Beagle, where a Mach Punch knocked out his Excadrill, which he did not expect. So that was Conkeldurr is definitely a strong Pokemon. It has its niche, but I guess I just didn't know how to use it.
Well, we're looking at a pretty offensive fast lead on Baz Anderson's side. He's got Breloom and Thundurus versus Biosci's slower but more defensive Cresselia and Landorus Therian form. So Breloom, known for a relatively fast spore, sitting at 70 base speed, and generally is maxed out Jolly. So it hits a speed stat of 135, which generally outspeeds most Cresselia. Um, I imagine this Breloom is going to be a defining factor in this matchup. So do you agree with that, Dwee?
Let's just say a lot of Pokemon are going to be taking naps.
Yeah, that's for 100% accurate. It was probably one of the best moves in the game, if not the best. And this just in, Fatum has advanced over his opponent Dingram, who was second place at U.S. Nationals. So congratulations on the quality win there. Um,
Team
yeah,
Europe.
yeah, Europe is looking pretty strong right now. I mean, Baz Anderson, for those of you not familiar, um, is from Europe, having gone to multiple European nationals, and he's gonna pull back Thundurus. I guess he's not happy with what he can do against either Pokemon, and goes for a more defensive option in Cresselia, and that substitute that's gonna stop Spore. But if Baz Anderson's smart, he'll remember that. He's gonna Spore Cresselia, who will be taking a nap and will not be moving this turn. So, all right, time for a reevaluation, Dwee. What do you think?
Well, that Landers doesn't really have a way to touch Breloom, but it is hiding behind that sub, so that's pretty important for Biosci. Well, it just comes down to what happens now. I mean, that that substitute might be broken by an Icy Wind from Cresselia, and if that Cresselia can just slow down all of Biosci's team, I would not be surprised if Biosci's team goes for a nap.
Keep in
His
mind
entire
also,
team.
keep in mind also that Breloom with the ability technician has started using Bullet Seed, which is a multi-hit move. So even though it's at -1, do you think there's a chance that it could break through the substitute with Bullet Seed and then possibly hit Landorus with an Icy Wind?
That is definitely a possibility. It it is actually pretty likely. I mean, what is Baz gonna do now? I mean, is he gonna bolt seed Cresselia for negligible damage because Cresselia is too bulky, or I think breaking that sub and slowing it down might actually be a good move for Baz.
Yeah, but Biosci's a pretty strong trainer. He's pretty good at placing himself at the other person's head. And you know what? He's better
Oh,
than us because he just protected against that play, and I
but
guess he's gonna try to. Ooh, what? And Baz Anderson's even better than all of us. Dodges and protect. It's just gonna get some damage off on that Cresselia, and three-hit Bullet Seed, and the Icy Wind going off. So it's not really gonna change much. Cresselia is already the slowest member of the field, and Landorus is going to protect against it. So kind of a wash with some. Oh, Cresselia with the one turn sleep gets the Icy Wind off, and now it's kind of back to the way it was. So Breloom's still faster than Cresselia. So what do you think, Dwee?
one turn sleeps. Those are pretty annoying to see as a person that's putting Pokemon to sleep, but pretty lucky on Biosci's side to wake up and get off an Icy Wind, slow down Breloom, and do quite a chunk actually.
Yeah, definitely it was good damage off, and I'm kind of curious, how much do you think a ground gem earthquake is going to do against Breloom?
Breloom's so frail that I think it might be a knockout.
Yeah, just keep in mind, I think Breloom is something like base 60 defense. Is that right?
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but all I know is that Breloom is too frail to even survive anything.
Yeah, that's the main reason why Focus Sash is a popular item choice for Breloom because it wouldn't survive anyway. Um, this just in from our host, Talon and Unreality. Talon being the author of the Seniors Nationals piece, and Unreality, who fell short in the Nugget Bridge Major. They're tied at one game apiece, and on top of that, it appears that Mr. Bopper has advanced over the Knights of Wario Land. So congratulations over everyone, and congratulations to everyone. And oh, updates coming in left and right. Plusle just defeated Mr. Fox, so it looks like a lot of our round two slots are being decided.
Team Europe.
Yeah, so Breloom opting for their protect, they didn't take any damage, and Baz Anderson throwing out the Icy Wind hits both Pokemon, um, and knocking out that Substitute, which is really key. And Cresselia's speed is dropping even further, but it was already the slowest member of the field anyway. And this has just become an ugly Icy Wind war, and I think it just kind of is a testament to how good the move is.
Yeah, another thing about Icy Wind that some people don't realize is that it also breaks Sash, so that Breloom was holding that Sash. That's tough luck for Breloom.
Yeah, that's the risk of using Breloom. There's so many things that can break the Sash, but Uh, now we're just still kind of in the same situation, kind of an ugly war of attrition. So, you think there's anything that they could do to possibly break this cycle and maybe get a knockout?
That Breloom is probably going to get knocked out this coming turn. Landers T is ready to go, but it's all a matter of whether Biosci wants Landers T to take that icy wind coming from the opposing Cresselia, which might open doors for Baz actually. So Baz might be baiting with that Breloom.
Yeah, well, we'll see. This is game three, so if you got any awesome plays, this is where you pull them out. And Biosci has selected his moves, and we're just waiting on Baz Anderson. Gotta see if he pulls the trigger like Dwee said. Maybe he's got another plan entirely. All right, so he's gonna get that earthquake off, and I don't believe he's used his ground gem yet. So yeah, he hasn't. So we're gonna see how much damage this does to that Breloom, and if it gets to that KO, that'll be huge in this game. And now we're just kind of waiting for that damage, and it is not a KO, and it gets the spore off on Cresselia. We're not gonna be seeing any icy winds here,
Oh
and
wow.
on top of that. Now Baz is free to throw out an Icy Wind, and he's gonna hit that Landorus Therian, get the speed drop, and do a ton of damage in the process.
That turn was big. That surviving by just a few hit points.
I can't even see the HP bar. That's how little it is right now. So, all right, good position for Baz Anderson here. So, what's the play, Dewey?
Well, Baz can either knock out the Landers T right now, which might be an okay move depending on what Biosci sends in right after to counter, but oh, this is a tough decision. Do you want to knock out that Landers and possibly see what happens if Cresselia gets one turn of sleep?
Yeah, that's the risk of using a Spore. You can have 1 to 3 turns sleep, and I'm not sure if it's all the same distribution, but those 1 turn sleeps can often be devastating if you're banking on having a free turn or two from Spore. Um, it would be really clutch of that Cresselia to wake up and just fire off an Icy Wind and be a hero.
Yeah, but I don't even know what the speeds are anymore. There's been so many icy winds just thrown left and right.
I think the Cresselia might be at -2 or -3 speed. And Breloom I think is at -1. Landorus is probably at -1. And I don't know what Baz Anderson's Cresselia is at. So let's see. I believe his Landorus outsped his Breloom naturally. Is that right?
Yeah, and then now they're both at -1 now, I believe. So Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? It looks like it's gonna stay that way for a little bit. Both Pokemon protecting, and we're just gonna be seeing even more Icy Wind. Stop me if you've heard this one before. And that Cresselia is, if it was going any slower, it'd be going backwards. And but it's asleep, so it's gonna stay right where it's at. And this, what's good about this is uh, Biosci's in a good position to attack, don't you think?
That Mach Punch, that's
Uh,
kind of risky.
it's at -1, maybe.
Ooh, I
We've
don't
seen
know.
crazy
That's
things this
but
set.
technician, that technician.
Yeah, that 1.5 times boost from Technician is going to be pivotal in picking up that KO if it happens. But then again, we thought that 1.5 times boost from a ground gem would KO too, but what happened to us?
We need to do our damage calcs more.
We need to get a dedicated damage calc guy.
Yeah. Can we get a floor reporter?
Yes, please. That's how you know Pokemon has become an esport when we get a floor reporter for an online tournament.
Baz, he's deliberating so much on this turn. I mean, is that Mach Punch gonna knock out that Landorus T? That's the big question.
And it's also what's really scary is what if that Cresselia wakes up?
Well, I mean, if Baz can knock out that Landorus T, then Chandelure actually has a much easier path
Well,
to defeating Heatran.
it's not going to happen because Landers T just left the field and helping hand. Oh my gosh. Is this going to be a helping hand
Oh,
Mach Punch onto. Yes, it is. It's going to be helping hand Mach Punch into Heatran. And you were talking about it. We got to protect that Heatran. And that is not how you protect Heatran. Um, so huge turn for Baz Anderson. Might be unintentional, but it worked.
and Cresselia stays asleep too.
Yeah, he's gonna get that max sleep. I believe it'll be waking up this turn. Is that right?
Uh, I
Yeah, it's
think
like
so. I
yeah,
think this is the third turn.
yeah. So it'll be waking up this turn. So both players know Cresselia is gonna most likely have a shot to fire off a move, but Heatran is has an unmodified speed, so Breloom is probably faster than it. I think this is still tough for Biosci. What do you think?
I think it's tough for Baz too. I mean, that Heatran's there might bait out that Mach Punch into a Protect from Heatran, and then Cresselia can just wake up and Icy Wind Breloom to knock it out, and then that'll set up Baz's next turn to possibly set up a sub. Or Biosci's next turn to set up a sub.
Possibly. Well, boy, this is an ugly game. Uh, but that's how we like it. You know, two high level trainers going at it in game three. But this too bad this matchup happened round one. I feel like the way these players are playing, this is definitely something that could have gone later on in the tournament, and we would have been happy with it.
This is definitely high level Pokemon right here. High level Pokemon.
And hey, you know what? Maybe with a little bit of luck, Baz Anderson will scrape together the funds to go to Worlds. He's got the invite, so
I thought he does have the funds to come. I think he is coming.
you know, he decided he's coming.
I think he is coming. I mean, he has a free room from his fellow Team UK players, but I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere I saw him post that he was coming.
Yeah, so it's confirmed he is booked. And oh man, what a play!
Oh,
Biosci calling that Breloom is going to protect because he knew that Baz Anderson knew that it was a 3-turn sleep, so he knew that he would wake up, probably launch an Icy Wind, and Biosci predicted all this and sets up to substitute in his face. So extremely high level Pokemon. I can't get over that play.
that is a gutsy move. I mean, you do love the move substitute.
Yeah, I used substitute like on was it 3 or 4 of my Pokemon in Philly. That was a lot of fun. It's I believe it's probably one of the best moves in the game. Um,
It definitely like helps a team so much if you can get up a free substitute just like that. And now Biosci, oh, so advantageous.
I'm wondering if we're gonna see an even gutsier play, like a sub protect right here. What do you think of that play, Dwee?
Biosci definitely needs to protect that substitute because otherwise Chandler just comes in and just hidden power ground. So definitely needs to protect that Heatran this turn probably.
Yeah, but at the same time, launching that Heat Wave is a really attractive prospect right now. We'll see how it turns out, especially with that Cresselia at minus infinity speed. Um, so that Breloom is gonna have free reign. Actually, no. If he protects, the Breloom has free reign. If he doesn't, then he gets Heat Waved, but risks getting Mach Punched. It's a tough move.
Can't forget though, Breloom always threatens with the Spore, so that Cresselia could be taking a nap as well. It is really dependent on what happens here.
But Heatran is faster than Breloom at the moment since Heatran never got hit by Icy Wind.
Yes,
So
but
it all depends on what that Heatran does.
it all depends on what this Breloom does. Does it decide to Mach Punch or does it decide to Spore?
All right, this just in. Darkness advances over Kiwi Dog. So congratulations, Darkness, and thank you, Kiwi Dog, for playing today. And let's see, how many slots is that? I believe 5 out of 8 slots for round 2 have been decided. So we're already starting to see the landscape being decided here. And 6 out of 8 have been decided. Just a quick summary: we currently have Fatum, Mr. Bopper, and Cybertron all confirmed for round 2, and Plusle is already confirmed to be matched up with Knight. Cybertron is currently waiting the result of Unreality Talon, which is also underway, and Mr. Bopper is going to be dealing with Darkness soon, and Fatum will be playing the winner of this set. All right, so eats that Mach Punch. It's gonna break and gets to launch the Heat Wave, but Chandelore's ability Flash Fire absorbs fire moves and gives a 1.5 times boost. It's gonna be taking down that Breloom no problem, especially with that little HP. And I imagine that Chandelure is gonna have a shot on the next turn to hit with an Hidden Power Ground, but we'll see. So, what do you think, Dweeb? Breloom's off the field.
That was a big turn for Baz. Substitute's gone. But the thing is, Cresselia did not go for that icy wind, so that Chandler's still so much pressure on that Heatran.
And now Thunders comes in. Now there's 2 things on the field that can hit Heatran. So you're right. What a fantastic turn for Baz Anderson.
Yeah, did not see that switch incoming at all, and Biosci probably didn't see it either.
And you know what? That's why Baz Anderson is the #1 seed in this tournament, because of plays like that. And Bioside, it's a pretty simple plan for him, but it's going to be rough because that Chandelure is going to pick up a KO this turn, most likely. Probably on that Cresselia. I'm kind of curious. Thunder still has his electric gem, so he'll be able to run over that Heatran no problem. And Shadow Ball is definitely going to get the KO on Cresselia. So is there anything Biosci can do?
Predict and make some manly switches, I guess. I mean,
I think Baz just made a manlier switch. Just pulled out Thundurus into Cresselia, eats up to protect, is going to get the Shadow Ball off on Cresselia most likely, and it does Ghost Gem boosted. That's overkill, but it'll knock out Cresselia, and now it looks to be really rough since that Heatran is going to have to deal with that Hidden Power Ground Chandelure.
Baz just baiting so much from Biosci.
That was a fantastic play. He's just playing his out of his mind right now.
The Chandler and the Thunders created so much pressure, and Baz kind of saw it coming. I mean, he threatened the Heatran with that Electric Gem Thunderbolt and then just pulled it back. Oh my gosh, that was a good move by Baz.
Man, we got plays. So many plays today. All right, and all right, maybe it's time for that Crobat to do something. We still haven't really seen a lot of it, but you pointed out earlier that Biosci does have that save live with the Prankster, possibly with the Prankster Gravity. So I don't think Hypnosis is, if he has it, it's not going to be very useful.
Yeah. Right now, Crobat, I don't even know what it can do. Not Crobat's a very uncommon Pokemon, although it is, you know, not underrated because people know that it's good, but it's just not seen that much.
Yeah, I mean, the last time I really can think of it being notable was on Fishy's 2012 Nationals team, which top cut, I believe.
Yeah, I tried playing around with it once, and I just could not use it. It just Tyranitar was a problem. I mean, I could have used Super Fang, but I just didn't like Super Fang. I mean, 50%? It's not a one hit KO.
It's nice on things like Cresselia though, but
Yeah, bulky things like that. But Crobat just didn't have that offensive firepower that I was looking for in a flying type.
yeah, but Crobat sitting at 130 base speed, which hits 200 speed stat, I believe, is so fast that its support moves could basically be considered to be Prankster because the only thing it won't be outspeeding are the Prankster Pokemon. Yes,
It gets Tailwind and Inner Focus. That's pretty important too.
yeah, but no fake out users on the field right now. But um, Chandler opts for the Protect, and Biosci going straight for it launches attacks and is going to get icy winded, bringing that Crobat speed down to earth. And finally getting the speed reduction on Heatran, which might matter if Cresselia wants to target it again for whatever reason. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what Biosci does. And he goes for the safe defensive option, gets that substitute up. So -1 Crobat and -1 Heatran with substitute versus Cresselia and Hidden Power Ground Chandelure. Who do you like in this one, Dwee?
Can't forget that in the back, Biosci still has Landorus. So Landorus is probably his out to knocking out that Chandelier. So I think he might start targeting down that Cresselia and make sure that it's knocked out so that his speeds will remain consistent throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah, Cresselia is kind of showing, why it's the best Pokemon in this format. It's impossible to kill, and it just it's impossible to knock out, and it's just disrupts your entire team until it's non-functional, and the rest of your team can clean up after it. That's why we see Cresselia on both teams here, and why we often see Cresselia making it to high-level play at actual tournaments, despite any rogue mischievous that might be happening this year. All right. This just in, Unreality advances, so congratulations to him and his opponent Talon. Looks like we'll be having an Aaron versus Aaron stream round 2. I imagine that's probably going to be the highlight match for this round. And the winner of this match will go on to play Fatum, so we might end up having double European or another double mod matchup. Oh man, I'm excited for round 2.
I'm pretty excited for Unreality and Air or Cybertron because they're good friends and yeah, I mean
And plus, I mean, uh, those two formed a commentary duo for Tuesday Night Fights twice. Once this past week and one for 616 versus Human. So
yeah,
uh,
they're good friends, so
they
it'll definitely be fun watching friends battle
they
each other.
they know each other really really well. So Baz Anderson pulls out that Chandelure since he thinks he's going to be the key, and sends out Thunderous, which is interesting. And Heatran sets up Protect, doesn't want to lose that substitute. And Crobat is going to get the acrobatics off on one of the Pokemon. We'll see who it is. And it's going to be not very effective against Thunderous, but, with the Flying Gem and everything, it's still a good hit. And it's going to be taking an Icy Wind, and now its speed is going to be halved. So it'll now probably be sitting at about 100 speed, which is probably slower than Cresselia and Thunderous. So the situation's looking more and more bleak. Do you think there's a way Biosci can turn this around?
The bat switching in Thunderous to eat that acrobatics was a big play. Now, I mean, that Thunderous it can threaten both things on the field right now. Um, uh, I mean, Thunderbolt the Heat Ram and Psyshock or Psychic the Crobat, and even an Icy Wind might knock out Crobat. So Baz Anderson is in a really good position right now. That Cresselia is not knocking out anytime soon unless we see Super Fang and Heat Wave maybe, but that Cresselia is definitely the problem Pokemon right now for Biosci.
Yeah, on top of that, I think we're going to need something on a league of like a crit burn heat wave in order to bring that Cresselia down to speed, or down to low health, I should say. Um, and it's also important to note on what Dwee said with Icy Wind, if Biosci were to switch in Landorus, it's 4 times weak to ice moves, so that hidden power ice, I mean, the Icy Wind would really, really hurt. So, like we said before, it's a really rough situation, but Heatran's gonna have to become a hero if Biosci's gonna win this. All right, and Th Thunder is finally using up that Electric Gem Thunderbolt. It's gonna hit that Heatran and break its substitute probably by a mile. And with that -2 speed, Crobat is not gonna have a chance to move. Gets hit by the Psychic, which is gonna finish it off. And now it's up to Heatran. If we can get a good move off here, we get that Heat Wave, maybe get a crit. Oh,
Oh,
that's oh,
double avoid.
and that is Pokemon for you, ladies and gentlemen. So this is extremely rough to watch because getting rid of that Cresselia was huge because Icy Wind hurts Landorus. So is there anything that you think he could pull off?
I think it looks pretty bleak for Biosci right now. That double heat wave miss, I mean, honestly, looking at it, didn't look too important because, I mean, that heat ran would not have knocked out Cresselia. And probably, I don't know, that Thunder seemed pretty bulky to me, so yeah, maybe it's not as big of a deal. It's just the icing on the cake pretty much for Baz probably though.
Yeah, that's just some salt in the wound right there. It happens. This is Pokemon, and if you can't deal with it, don't play this game. All right. So now we're just kind of waiting on things to advance here. Biosci is taking his time with this move. Possibly trying to set up a protector substitute. What do you think?
Hmm. I mean, the best out for Biosci right now is to probably get some Rock Slide flinches, and then if he's lucky, he might be able to get up a substitute. But I don't know. I
Hey, you know
really
what?
don't know here.
If double misses can happen, maybe double flinches can happen.
Oh, they can happen. That's for sure.
Yeah, but he's going for it. Gets that rock slide. Is that a crit? Oh, but it's a flinch. There's one, and Psychic's gonna take out. Uh, is going to take out Landorus, and now it's Heatran versus the world. He's got
Heatwave crit?
crit burn, crit burn. That's a double hit. So, there's no crit, and waiting on a burn,
It doesn't
and
even matter.
nothing.
Chandelure
Yeah.
will outspeed Heat ran and just knocked it out with Hidden Power Ground, so
All right. Looks like good game at this point for Baz Anderson. All right. So Baz Anderson showing why he's so good. What do you think was the defining moment in this set?
oh, that defining moment in the set, probably Breloom taking out that substitute from Heatran that one turn. And then another big turn was probably when Baz switched in Thunderous and then immediately switched out, and that just created so much pressure. So those are some great moves by Baz right there. Great play by Baz, and I mean, it clearly showed that Baz was ready. He's here to win. Number one seed, gonna go all the way.
Yeah, well, we won't be getting that. We will not be getting our Cinderella story here. But coming up on next on Nugget Bridge Invitational, it's going to be Dwee and I commentating Aaron versus Aaron, Cybertron versus Unreality. I'm excited. What do you think? What do you think, Dwee?
Pretty stoked for it. I mean, Cybertron, Unreality, good friends. Now they're both in Masters. Unreality, 2012, he had a really good run at Nationals. Missed a crucial Icicle Spear to advance, but Unreality's proven that he can play in Masters. Cybertron this year, he definitely proved that he can play in Masters.
Yeah, both players are showing that they're that they're really strong, and we're just kind of see who's the stronger of the team seniors.
I will refrain from answering that question because they're both pretty good friends of mine, and I don't want to. Yeah, I'll just say it just to make him mad. Unreality's the strongest Master.